channel. Today I am testing out yet another foundation. As you all know, I am trying to test out as many foundations as I possibly can before the Sephora sale because I know there has been so many foundations launched in the month of August, and why not take advantage of the Sephora sale? So I'm going to try to do as many as I can, and because of that, I am only able to wear the foundations for 2 days. So today we're talking about the Kevyn Aucoin The Balm foundation. If you watched my makeup haul, you would have known that I first tried this foundation and I actually bought the wrong shade. So I chose medium FB 7.5. It was so light on my skin that it really looked horrific. Like, it was ghostly looking, and I was a little bit scared to try it again, but I did. I ordered my right shade, so I actually chose shade medium FB10. So I will leave a full list in the description box down below of foundations that I wear in other shades, just in case you might be closer to my skin shade and you might want to, maybe match your foundation based on what I wear. So before we get started, I want to give you guys a little bit of information about my skin and what I look for when I'm testing out foundations, because I do think that that is important. So I am 40 years old and I have dry normal skin. Right now I'm a little bit more on the normal side. The dry is more during the winter time. I have hyperpigmentation, I have adult acne, got some creepy skin kind of coming up around here, and wrinkles and the whole 9 yards that comes with the age of 40, which is totally fine. So I am pretty particular when it comes to my foundations. So let me get into the information about this foundation. So this foundation retails for $52. It looks like this, and it has kind of it looks really creamy. So like when you put your finger down into the product, it feels very, very creamy. But when you start blending it out, it's almost like there's nothing on your skin. There's nothing on your finger. It's almost like you can't feel it when you're blending it. It is creamy, but then once you apply it on the face, it dries instantly and it has kind of that powdery finish. Now, it does come in 20 different shades. The shades are not that great as you move towards the deeper skin tones. It seems like the lighter shades have a more like yellow golden undertone, but as you go darker, it seems to almost be a little bit gray. And even this shade 10, when I applied it, I felt like it had a little bit of a gray undertone to it, just a tad. If you look at the two darker shades, they look like they have a gray undertone. So it doesn't look like there are a lot of warmth undertones in the deeper skin tones range. So just be mindful of that when you are looking at purchasing this. Now, I've had a few people say that this shade range does run a little light, and I would have to agree with that, only because when I first bought it, I bought shade medium FB 7.5, which is in the neutral undertone category. And most of the time I like to buy my foundations with like a medium with like a golden warm undertone, but I'm finding lately with all of these new foundation launches that some of the foundations are really, really too golden. I don't know what changed in the whole like undertone with all of these foundation companies, but it seems like, I don't know if this is happening to you, but it's happened to me with several new foundations that I've bought recently, the ones that I've been reviewing. They just are really, really, really golden. And so I thought, well, maybe I will try to buy this in more of the neutral tone because I can wear both, but it was way too light and it was definitely a neutral tone. I would say that this one matches me pretty close. I felt like it was a little gray until I got the rest of my makeup on and kind of warmed up my skin with a bronzer, and then, popped a little bit of blush on. It kind of warmed it up a little bit. So just be mindful of that when you're first applying it. The undertone might warm up to your skin and might change. It did for me anyway when I applied it, so I definitely wanted to mention that. So this foundation is a full coverage, buildable foundation for all skin types in 20 different shades. Foundation Balm formula delivers a silky, flawless finish for younger looking skin. It's fortified with hyaluronic acid and bonus antioxidants such as vitamin E, and the Foundation Balm hydrates your skin for a more subtle look and feel. Also, the foundation comes with a brush. This is what the brush looks like, and I will actually say I like the foundation brush. Normally when I get a foundation like this that comes with a brush, or let's just say that it's a new launch of a foundation, and sometimes they'll have like a coupon code where you can get the foundation brush for a certain price or get it for free or whatever. Normally I don't end up liking the brush, but this one I actually really like. I do think that the brush applies this pretty good. The only thing to be mindful of, because it is a stiffer brush, you can get it too thick in certain areas. In the application portion of the video, I will show you guys kind of how I had to tweak this. I liked using the brush, but I did have to go over it with a damp sponge just to kind of make sure that I wasn't heavy in certain areas. Because of the texture of this foundation and it being that it's like a silky powdery finish, it can build up pretty quickly in certain areas. So I'm going to get into all of that later on in the video, but that is the information on the foundation. Let's go ahead and jump straight into the application portion of the video. I'm going to wear this all day today for 12 hours. Tomorrow I'm going to wear it for 12 hours, and then I will give you guys my final thoughts after wearing it both those days. Without further ado, let's jump right into the application, and I will see you guys in my first check-in. Okay, so let's get applying this foundation. When I applied it that day in that makeup haul, it felt really powdery. So it felt like it had like a powdery finish. So I did decide to really prep my skin with the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. And I am feeling pretty hydrated. So I'm gonna go ahead and, oh yeah, that's such a way better shade. Oh my gosh. Way better shade, you guys. Way better. It looks like it's a pretty good medium coverage, or maybe even a full, because that's not even that much foundation. Like, it feels like I'm applying nothing. Like, it kind of just feels like you don't feel like you're applying anything, but you can kind of see it disappearing, like all your flaws and bad mistakes. And ooh, it is a little thick though. Ooh, oof. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is what I didn't want to happen. I might have to use a sponge with this one because it looks bad on my creepy skin. Like right through here is where I'm starting to get that creepy skin. Oh, I might have to like really like try to buff that out. Oh my gosh, this like ages me. Okay, I'm gonna go in with a sponge. I'm just trying to thin it out a little bit because I don't want it to be too heavy. It looks really good through the camera, but when I pull you in, you'll know what I'm talking about. It does look pretty heavy. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start putting some here on my forehead, but just applying a little bit at a time. It looks like the medium FB10 is in the yellow undertone category, and I would say that this is a little bit more grayish. It looks like it matches my skin through the camera. It matches my skin tone, but I feel like it's a tad bit gray, but it does match my skin, so that's a good thing. Now, a little bit of this goes a long way, you guys, so don't go in heavy with the brush. I'm gonna go in with a little bit here on the sponge and just kind of make sure. That's the thing, is that the brush does give you a nice, like, flawless application, but I can see a little bit of hair strokes, and I don't want it to be thick. So I'm going in with a sponge that's just dampened, but doesn't have any product on it, just to make sure that it's not too thick in areas, because this one is one that you do need to be careful and mindful of that, because you don't want to go too thick and heavy with it. Let's go in with just the sponge on this side and see if that helps, because the brush does seem to get it a little bit too thick. And maybe by the sponge absorbing a little bit of the product, maybe that might help to kind of calm down, you know, applying too much with this, because I can tell you right now, this is not a foundation you want to go in with a lot of. I mean, it's definitely got a powdery finish, and it takes just a teeny bit. It's really pigmented for being a formula like this. Blends out quick, and it doesn't really feel like I have anything on my face, you know, so it does have that powdery finish where you just don't really feel like you have anything on there. That looks really smooth and really good so far. It's a little bit heavy just as far as like the way that it sits on the wrinkles. I do like applying it with a sponge, I think, a little bit better than a brush. I feel like the brush because the brush, you're actually applying everything that's on the product, because if you look at the brush, it doesn't even look like there's anything on it. So anything that you put on the brush goes directly onto the face. So I feel like the sponge kind of helps to absorb some of the foundation, and which can be wasteful, yes, but it stops you from applying too much, you know. Okay, so this is what it's looking like up close. As you can see, it does have a nice finish, but if you look at me from this angle, I don't know if it's showing up on the camera, but it does look a little thick in this area. It's lightweight though, like I don't feel like I have anything on. You know, that's the one thing that I will say about this, is extremely lightweight, but it is a little bit maybe too heavy for, you know, some of my wrinkled areas, but we'll see. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the ring light. Okay, so this is what we're looking like in more natural lighting. I have the 2 umbrella lights sitting in the corner, and I'm sitting in front of a window, but it's not direct sunlight. But this foundation looks pretty good. I'm not gonna put any powders over this because it does have such a powdery finish. But it's just right here in this area, it just doesn't look the best. Like, it just does look a little bit thick and a little bit heavy. See this creepy skin I got going on right here? It's dramatizing that, and that's one thing that I don't like about like matte powdery finish foundations, is that it does just kind of emphasize this area that starts to happen when you turn 40. So I always have to be careful with that. If you don't have that creepy skin starting, then I think you'll be okay. But this looks pretty decent over pores. It's just kind of harsh on wrinkles. It is. This is one that, you know, it doesn't really cater to wrinkles. But maybe if you have oily skin, this might do much better on your wrinkles, you know, but because I'm dry normal, it's a little iffy. Okay, so currently it is 9:41 in the morning, so I'm gonna wear this all day long and wear it again tomorrow. Tomorrow I think I might put a little bit of primer oil on the side of my face and see if that helps to kind of, like, just on one side, just to see what that does, like especially on the creepy skin, and see if that helps like where I have my wrinkles and stuff. That's it for my application portion of the video. I will see you guys in my first check-in. Okay everyone, I am back for a midday check-in. It is currently 4:04 in the afternoon, and I think I applied this right around 10 o'clock. I'm not exactly sure, but I think it's been about 6 hours since I applied it. And you guys, this is a tricky foundation, and it's a tad bit too drying, a tad bit too powdery for me. It's traditionally a matte foundation, and you guys hear me talk about that all the time. I can't wear a lot of matte foundations because it really ages me, and this is definitely one of them. Here up on the screen, I took some images of what it looked like. It's kind of hard for this camera to really capture that up close. I just do not like it. It seriously clings to all of my creepy skin that I got going on right here. Like, it emphasizes it. You know, when I have a little bit more of a hydrating foundation, it kind of hides that. But this type of foundation just doesn't. It's just extremely powdery. I've only had it on for what, 6.5 hours. So the longevity I feel like is there, but I just feel like this foundation is just not for me. It just emphasizes texture, wrinkles. It just really is aging. It looks pretty from afar, but when you get up close is where you really notice that it just doesn't look the best. I don't feel like this is a foundation that if you have like dry patches, like if you're kind of dry and crusty right here or around your nose or whatever, I don't think you're gonna wanna play with this one. It's not made for me. Now, if you're oily or combo, this might be something that you should look into. But for me being dry normal, I just don't feel like this is the right foundation for my skin type. Okay, so I've pulled you in, and as you can see, it's starting to kind of break up right here around my nose area. You can see that kind of like separating in between the creases. All right, let's turn off the ring light. And I am feeling really dry, but like when I smile, I can feel the stretch in between here, and like, you know, when I go like this, I can feel my forehead stretching. And it's just because it's such a powdery finish. I think that my natural oils have been able to kind of come through on this one. And I enjoyed that part about it because, you know, there are some matte foundations that, you know, they're so matte and so dry that, you know, it just kind of locks your oils down underneath. But I would say this is on the lower end of being a matte foundation. I wouldn't call it a satin matte, but I would say maybe it's just a normal matte. Like I said, so far, I'm not loving it. But again, I'm going to play around with it tomorrow. But I am going to apply half of my face with a thin layer of this. So this is the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Oil. When I have like a more of a powdery finish type foundation that's more mattifying, sometimes I like to go in with this and, you know, maybe apply just a thin layer, kind of let the skin absorb it for maybe 5 to 10 minutes and then go in with the foundation. I think I'm going to try that on one side of the face and see if that helps with the way that this is laying on my creepy skin and on my wrinkles and stuff. So that's it for this check-in. I will see you guys tomorrow night in my final thoughts. Okay everyone, I am back to give you guys my final thoughts on this foundation. It is currently 10 o'clock at night, so I have definitely had this on for 12 hours. I started pretty early this morning. I would say I probably got done applying my foundation and stuff probably right around 9 o'clock this morning. Let me just say this. Yesterday I hated this foundation. I was just not digging it. It was just not something that I liked. And you guys know that I recently reviewed the Naked Skin from Urban Decay. This one is a matte foundation, but it's a very soft, lightweight matte. This one, on the other hand, can be a little bit heavy if you're not careful. So yesterday, when I applied it with this brush, I didn't really like it. It got really thick in this area. As you saw in those images that I uploaded in the 6-hour check-in, you could see just how thick it was. And it wore like that all day. And it was just heavy and just gross. And I didn't like it. And today, I didn't use the brush. I actually used my favorite foundation brush, the IT Cosmetics Heavenly Luxe foundation brush. And when I went over my face and just kind of did a full even layer, and I was able to not pack too much on, I think because this brush is so like stiff, it packs too much on, especially in those areas. This, on the other hand, doesn't. And I like it now. I like the foundation. I don't love it. There are some things I don't love about it, but I like it now. I like it much better with applying it with this versus this brush. Even though I think this is a good brush for being a brush that comes with the foundation, for me personally and what I need in this foundation, I can't apply it that way. Like I said yesterday, I was going to apply half of my face with the Smashbox. This is the primer oil. Normally, if I have like a thick liquid foundation, I will mix a little bit of this to kind of thin it out a little bit and then go in, and I get really good results. So on this side, I put the oil on this side, I didn't. And I don't know that I would say that there's much of a difference. When I was finally able to just do one even layer, my natural oil starts to come through throughout the day, and this looks so much better today, you guys. Like, I hated this foundation yesterday. I didn't want to come out and say it because I was only 6 hours in. When I went to wipe off my makeup last night, I was like, oh my gosh, I do not want to wear that foundation again. I feel like that this is better than some of the other foundations that I've tried, not necessarily. If you are somebody that have a lot of texture, when I was going through my acne breakouts, that is not a foundation I would reach for, ever. That is not going to be forgiving on an acne breakout situation. Like if you are broke out all over your face, I wouldn't touch it. If you are somebody who is dry and you have dry patches, I wouldn't touch it. You gotta have a pretty decent skin to wear this. This is not for everybody. Though I do think that somebody with like normal combo and oily skin will really enjoy this. If you are somebody who has oily skin and you still have acne breakouts, I wouldn't touch this one. This one is a foundation that's only suitable for people who have a clear skin. And the reason why I say that is because I have adult acne, and yes, now my acne is under control, but there was a time it wasn't. And I had, you know, at any given day, 4 to 5 zits on my face, right down here in this area, every single day for 2 years in a row. So I have been through cystic acne. I understand what it is. I understand how hard it is to cover up. This is not one that you can put on cystic acne. This is just not one that's going to be forgiving at all. If you have more mature skin than I do, maybe you're a little bit older and you have deeper set wrinkles, this is not going to be one that you would want to try. I don't even think you would want to try it even if you are a combo or oily skin and you do have more mature wrinkle skin. I feel like this one is just not going to be forgiving. I like it today. I hated it yesterday, which is another reason why I like to test out foundations more than one day, which I said the exact same thing when I reviewed this one. If you are normal and you like a little bit more of a luminous look with this, I recommend doing a really nice hydrating primer. Like prepping your skin is going to be key. Now, I did spray my skin today with the Glow recipe. This is the Watermelon Glow. It kind of melts the foundation into the skin. I did it yesterday, but I wouldn't tell anybody. It was just too thick. And when I sprayed that over top, that's when it got real clumpy looking. As you saw in those images, it was not a good look. And I did not like the way my makeup looked all day yesterday. Even though I loved my eyeshadow, like I loved that like soft purple matte eyeshadow look, I hated my foundation. Absolutely hated it. So I mean, it's been on for over 12 hours and it looks pretty dang good. It really does. Now, as you can see, you know, it started to wear off right around here, which is where all of my foundations wear off. So that is totally normal. That's just kind of what it's going to be 12 hours later, but it does look really natural. As you can see today, it's dry and like gross right here in this area. I mean, it just looks so much better right around this area, which is where I hated it. See this patch right here? This is how it looked all over my face yesterday. This is probably a place where I went in too heavy. That's what it will look like all over your face if you go in with too much of this. So you are not going to want to be too thick with this. You're gonna want to be very, very light-handed and very even thin layer. I know I say that on a lot of my foundation reviews, a thin layer is key, but this one, you guys, I am telling you right now, if it is not a thin layer, it is going to be a hot flippin' mess. Other than that, it looks pretty good everywhere else. Okay, let's turn off the ring light. So that's it for my final thoughts on this foundation. I hope that this was helpful for you guys. I do like this, but it is not for everyone, and you really need to decide what your skin type is, what your problematic areas are, what you need out of a foundation, and if this is going to fit the need, because it's not going to work for everyone. Don't forget, 1 hour from now, I am going to be uploading my Sephora sale video. I didn't mention this in the intro because I actually filmed it yesterday, but I have decided to upload 2 videos today. So I know that everybody's been waiting to hear this foundation review, and I know that everybody's waiting to hear the Sephora sale picks, and the Sephora sale starts today, so why not put them both up today? So in 1 hour from now, I'm going to be uploading another video. I know that's just a lot, you guys. I'm sorry, you can watch it at any time, but I want to just get them both up in case you guys are going to start shopping soon. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can be notified when that Sephora video goes up. Because I'm uploading 2 videos in one day, it might not give you the notification on the Sephora sale. So make sure that you click the notification bell right next to the subscribe button so you can be notified. I love you all, and I will see you guys in my Sephora sale video. Love you. Bye.